Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Grader'S notes, y'all. That's right. We've assembled. We're here to take on another comic book issue and dissect it like only the Grader'S notes boys can. Will there be a consensus? Will there be differing opinions? I'm sure there will be. What will the chat think? All these questions will be answered momentarily. A lot of great people in the chat, but at the moment, let's pop in the illustrious panel. First man up. You know, we know he's the Renaissance man. The man with the magic brush, ladies and gentlemen. None other than Genome Presents.
Welcome to the show, everyone. Glad y'all can make it. It's going to be an auspicious, somewhat evening because we're doing a. Is this the newest book or is Moon Knight? Moon Knight 101, the newest book we've done.
Oh, right. Yeah, this might be one of the newest books that we've done. Yeah, we're creeping up into this modern age, current day books.
Almost in current time. So we're going to see what happened to the X-Force of the 90s that I remember. And it's like they transmutated and lost a lot of color. So thus the shirt. So making up for some of the colorist job here. So looking forward to doing the book tonight. And let's see just how it stacks up to the older competition.
Fantastic. Next up, why don't we bring in... There's another fantastic artist on the panel. The homage man himself, dude. And wait till you see the spectacular new piece that's behind him right now in his backdrop. We're talking about Mr. Miracle, brother.
Hello, everybody. Glad to be here at Grader'S Notes. Yeah, very interesting. Kind of gets out of the Grader'S Notes comfort zone. We pick more modern comics. We tend to bog down in the 90s, 80s kind of deal. So good pick, Kenny. I got a lot to say about this issue, that's for sure.
All right. I cannot wait. Cannot wait. And last, but certainly not least, the man himself, the general, Mr. Metarog. How are you, sir?
How you doing, Kenny? Thank you for that introduction, as always. Me and Monstro Metarog are ready for tonight.
Yeah. Oh, is the monster going to come out this evening? We'll see.
Will he come out? I don't know. You know, it is that time of year, you know, where monsters do come out of the shadows. Possibly he will, or possibly this impressed him. We shall see.
You won't like me when I'm angry, says Monster.
No, you will not.
Let's hop right into a little taking attendance of the program here. Let's jump right into it. Stalwart member of the Grader'S Notes chat, Tim, the comic collector. Great to see you. My man, Aaron. I'm glad you changed the name to finally reflect the proper pronunciation of your name. That's great to see, man. Good to see you, brother. Magic Lasso, that's right. It's 84 time. And I brought along these awesome Grader'S. Indeed. Good to see you, Lasso. Mark Knapp. Rock on, my friend. Always great to see Big Mark in the chat, dude. Genome's lurking in that chat too, keeping an eye on things. Speaking of artists, Tricky Trapster, community artist himself. Good to see you, man. Let's continue to scroll on down here. Hey, Mr. Gorilla Todd Comics in the house. The collector, the educator, the gorilla. Good to see you. Comic Mag Musings. Star. He was a YouTube star last night. If you missed it, he was the guest on Inquiring Minds, one of the best interview shows on the tube. Hi, Aaliyah Comic Bros channel with Javi. A great deep dive into the mysterious mind of Mag Musings, Mr. Bill. That was
That could be a scary proposition, the way you put it.
Yeah. Funkadelic. Good to see you, Funk. Pure Gosu. I'll say it before you do. The man with the best Silver Surfer collection in the community. We know. Other stalwart member of the Grader'S Notes chat, Jackson Roykirk. Great to see you, man. Super Russ 9000 in the house, man.
Russ.
Oh, here comes trouble. Chad 90 MF Comics. Good to see you, my brother. House till the ends in the house. Another great supporter of the show. Mr. G, Mr. Garrel, one of my favorites, Mr. Chico Garrel. BTC Moon Guys in the house. What up, man? We got a fun show planned for you guys tonight. Boom. Attendance taken. Great to see you guys.
Thanks.
So why don't I give a quick intro of the book that we're doing, since it is indeed my choice tonight. I put this book forth. Wanted to see what my compatriots thought of it. I wanted to refresh myself on what I thought of it, because we're talking Uncanny X-Force #1. This is a book that when I was in that period of getting back into comics after a long lapse, and I was just devouring trades, this was one of them. And I remember it being one of my faves back in that time, but it has been a while since I read it. So I was curious to see how it would hold up. I tried to mix it up, and I put forth a little more modern action into the show. So Uncanny X-Force, I think everyone here knows the drill of Grader'S Notes. We're going to grade this bad boy on a scale of 1 through 5 on cover, interior art, the writing, and the concept. And of course, at the end of each round, we're going to kick it to you, the chat, to get a consensus on what you think. And we all secretly want to see if we can sync up with the chat consensus as we go. We'll see who's on point with the community tonight. Shout out to the immortal Biggie Shack.
Biggie.
Stone Cold.
Where's the sign? Where's the sign?
Yeah, right there.
There
it is. And Stone
head
Cold.
bowed. There we go.
So I guess real quick before we get into it, why don't I just pop by each of my panel members real quick and just see, before you read it, initial thoughts of the book. Were you aware of the book? Did you have any preconceived notions going into the book? Gino.
Have not read it. This is well past my collecting date, and I had serious apprehensions about wanting to read this book because I'm not a fan of what little newer stuff I've read. I've not really enjoyed. So wasn't too excited about it, but I know you wouldn't pick a dud on me, so I gave it a fair shake. I even bought the damn thing. So
hard copy tonight.
I have no LCS. I have to get everything shipped to me, so I had to pay exorbitant eBay prices for this thing.
Nice. And I know my man Roger's always got the hard copy. He's not a digital guy.
This is embarrassing. Yeah, well, you see, my dog ate it. No.
No, I'm just kidding. We've all had to, in the time pinch, had to go digital.
Yep, had to go digital. Yeah, the mail here in Mississippi. I mean, you could put a snail in molasses and it'll move quicker. All right, so I knew that I wasn't going to get it, so I just went digital because my LCS didn't have it. So
no sweat. Was this a book that you were aware of ahead of time before the pick? Any preconceived thoughts on this wave of X-Force?
No, the only X-Force I was aware of was the Liefeld creation from the 90s, which we've already reviewed and didn't go well, as I recall. So I had very, very little knowledge about, this iteration of that team, and particularly that one character, Phantom X, because when I stopped reading in the late 90s, he wasn't around. So I have very little background on this particular book.
Got
You
it.
and me both. You and me both.
How about Mr. Miracle? Were you kind of clued into this series at all, or anything about it beforehand?
Well, I knew about it. Like I knew there was a whole bunch of like Uncanny books that had come out, and a lot of it around Rick Remender. Is that the author's name?
Yep.
It didn't really seem to interest me too much. Like it was kind of pulling like too gimmicky for me to pull it off the shelf and read it. But I do, like I have read some of the ancillary kind of X-Men books. I do know who Phantom X is and that kind of stuff. I was familiar with all these characters, like a little bit of the backstory up to this point, right? Like I'm kind of hit and miss on modern comics when what I read and what I don't read. Kind of just kind of grab them as I see them, or get given them, or recommended, or whatever. Right? So I was aware of the book. I had never read this particular issue or this particular series. So
All right.
good, right? Because I am a fan of Phantom X. He's a good character.
Yeah. All right. So everyone was kind of going into it kind of blind. That's good. That's what we like. So let's get right to it. We always start with the cover of the book. Oh, and I forgot to ask, are you digital this evening, Miracle?
No, I got the real.
Oh, you have it handy. Oh yeah, you were just showing it. Well, in that case, I'm gonna go really throw a curveball, because I usually start with either my left or my right, and we go clockwise. I'm gonna go diagonal to Mr. Miracle first. Just I gotta keep my panel members off. So the floor is yours, Miracle. Let's cover this cover.
I gotta say, first issue trophy, right? It's team appearance. Here's all our new team guys, right? But that's kind of what you have to do with the first appearance, just kind of get people interested in which characters are possibly in here, right? And they certainly start out with the bangers here on there, like some of the best characters. Wolverine and Deadpool were some of the most popular characters. And I like the choice of making their costumes gray. I really think that was like a good choice, kind of unite them as a team, with the same colored costume like that. I thought that was good. This cover, I got in my notes. See, I take notes some days. Esad Ribic, I think he does a good job. Like his anatomy is great. I like the poses that he's got guys in, right? Looks really action filled, like stuff's going to happen here. And I like the color scheme. Like I said, I like the choice of putting everybody in gray and uniting with the team. This Uncanny X-Force, like right across the top, looks really speedy. Right, I like that. So I think that the treatment's good on it. Fits well with the whole idea of the cover here. Like that they started pushing all the little price tag and stuff down to the bottom and whatnot. But that started happening in modern comics, which is a smart, rather than taking up the big space up here in the corner. Yeah, I think he did a good job. I'm pretty sure it's computer generated. Pretty sure. I mean,
painted.
Is it painted? It might be gouache then. Yeah. Anyway, really nice, really well done. Anatomy's on point. Shading, coloring, it's all on point. The only thing that the only detractor I have from the cover, really is it's just a little tropey, right? Like you could have seen first issues that have like a real grab me kind of cover, and this one seems pretty typical of that first issue team appearance. Let's get everybody on the cover as a team. But again, what else are you going to do for marketing, right? Like I'm not, I want to see, if I see Deadpool and I see Wolverine and I see, Phantom X on there, who are super popular characters, of course I'm going to want to grab it, right? See what it's all about. But yeah, very well rendered. So I ended up giving the cover a 3.5 because the art is real good, but subject matter is kind of a little on the lesser side.
Boom.
3.5
from Mr. Miracle. Very well said. Very well put. we're gonna move. We're gonna cruise on to Mr. Roger, and I got my boys back, dude. I got the cover right here for you.
Thank you very much.
What say you on this cover?
Well, you know, I think Miracle. I'm going to mostly agree with him. I like that the differentiation of this team versus the prior teams that had more of their individual costumes. Again, when you first see the cover, you don't quite get it, but once you read the book, you can see that this is a very specific type of team, a strike team, and the fact that they have the same kind of hues kind of works, right? Because it shows a cohesion in their focus. So I like that going, the story going back into the cover. It doesn't really give you anything about what's going on. I think that's kind of on purpose because there's a little bit of a mystery evolving inside the issue. It is, like Miracle said, very posed, and very contrived, true. But it's very dynamic, powerful. The only thing I don't like here is Psylocke. Her pose doesn't make sense to me compared to the others that are going forward. Like there's an enemy and she's kind of posing almost profile like, showing her womanly assets, shall we say. So that part is a little bit odd, but that doesn't really detract it that much. And then you have kind of a slanted angle, like almost like an abutment of a building there. It looks like they're obviously high up. So again, it's posed, but it's effective. It shows you the team members. It shows you kind of their attitude. So, the anatomy is, like Miracle saying, is really pretty well done. Archangel seems a little overly done, and like really overly done there. But I think that kind of fits what they're trying to accomplish in the comic here. I couldn't go 3.5 because I just it needed a little more substance for me than just this pose, right? And I know it's because the comic is sort of being a little bit ambivalent and how the story evolves. But that Psylocke pose I think is very gratuitous. Well, not very, somewhat gratuitous, but it's really good, effective. Ribic, whoever he is, I like his stuff. I give it a 3.
3.0 from the man, Roger. Very nice, very nice. Let's keep this train rolling. I will do the honors on the cover here. So I agree that it's definitely got the #1 issue type of concept to the cover, which means you're just going to show the team members on the cover in a cool pose. Most team books, the #1 issue is kind of that trope. I get why they do it. So yeah, you don't get much more than when you're going concept wise on the cover of just a team pose coming at you. The color scheme change for the team, I always thought was pretty cool. It gives them more of a unified look. I think it works well for Deadpool and Wolverine, the color scheme change. Even Archangel, I think, also kind of has like that gray scheme too. We're talking Esad Ribic. Esad Ribic has worked a lot in comics. He's done a lot of Thor work. He is largely a cover artist, and his signature is paint. He does pencil his stuff, but yeah, he's known for his paint work. I don't know if it's watercolors. Tricky Traps, I've mentioned watercolors. Could be. And it definitely has a painted look to it. I'm more of I like tight pencils and I like tight detail. It's just, call me traditional. So I don't have, sometimes I only have so much tolerance for when we're not in that style. So I overall like it, but it's not my favorite type of comic art. I think Deadpool is the best posed character on the cover. and I think Wolverine is the worst posed. I think everyone's pose actually looks pretty great. I like this. It's not a usual flying pose for Archangel. His body's kind of twisted, and does a good job of like just filling up that real estate up here in a nice way. Phantom X is a gun-based guy, so that makes sense for him. But there's just something about the way Wolverine's crouched here, and I feel like his back arm compared to his front arm and bicep just caught my eye as looking kind of weird. Like the back arm looks a little thinner and more dainty than his big muscled arm here. And there's just something about that pose that I don't love. There's a lot of like just black space here on Wolverine's costume and body that I'm not a big fan of the way he executed that. It gets a little muddied up for me, and I don't completely dig it. Background's pretty interesting with the cityscape and whatnot. Almost looks like a foggy type of evening. Pretty cool. Trade dress, nice and sleek. Has an X-Force feel, or has an X-Men feel to it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on the cover. I think it's interesting. The painted approach is different from Esad Ribic. Gives it a unique look, which is worth something. But like I said, I'm a tight pencil guy, and I usually like that style a little more. A little bit of a miss on the pose here. And I landed with Miracle on 3.5. I didn't think it did anything tremendous. It's, it did the job, and I landed on 3.5.
Nice.
What's up, Kavi NYC? Good to see you.
Hey, Kavi.
He's read it, obviously, so I'm glad he's here.
Yes, I love it. Kicking it over to, last but certainly not least, the man who always comes through with the great background on these shows. Gino, what do you think of that cover, man?
Well, quick witty rejoinder here. Hashtag not my X-Force, by the way. So just got to say I'm doing that for Roger. But in all seriousness, I do apologize if my connection cuts out. It looks like it's acting really wonky tonight. So please forgive me. So let's talk about the cover here. And hopefully it doesn't get too invised out here, lest I drop the green screen. Yeah, man, this is, I was in Miracle's boat because I couldn't tell if this was generated or original art, but you say it's painted. There is definitely a different look to it, kind of a plasticky look, which is not necessarily bad. I just couldn't figure that out. But I like the angle. I really like that they're at kind of a slight angle, and that it's kind of like a movie trope right there, right? Mm-hmm. If something is a little bit off, or like usually the killer's view will be a little bit skewed, it just makes the viewer a little more uneasy, and we'll see what's going on with these guys on the inside. So that kind of fits. So I do like that. I do like it's kind of just a little bit of stance, and I like this city drop in the background. It looks really good, whether generated, painted, or whatever. That's pretty sharp. It probably would have been better if like some of the characters been a little further back instead of just all jammed up front, but hey, whatever, just nitpicking. There's nothing really too wrong with anything. It is a first issue, kind of strike a pose, kind of Madonna-ish here, but most of it looks pretty good. Betsy, of course, striking the most sensuous pose there, but not too gratuitous. I will say, though, Archangel needs purple in him. Dark, deep purple, almost blood purple. So I'm not sure why he's all blacked out like that. So it's like total grayscale here on there. But once again, it does make sense kind of with the subject matter within. So I won't detract it too much, but it's like there's nothing on the wings here. They're all under shadow. And he should just, I thought it was kind of, his skin tone really was kind of purple. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But there's been changes abounding. So what do I know? I've been out of the game for a long time. So like the guys, split cloak or whatever, kind of flapping it behind him. His gun, it probably won't show up on the camera here. I think it looks really good. It's right there in front. He's even got the little laser dot in it, which is a nice little touch. Nothing, that really blows me away. Like basically everyone else is saying, gets the job done. There's no glaring weaknesses. I gave it a 3. Yeah, it's just well done. There's just nothing special about it. Just another first issue, kind of cover.
Yeah, kind of where we all landed on this one.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, and I agree. I do think that the cover is probably the least interesting and polarizing potentially thing about this book. So I think we all succinctly called it like it was. There you go. Let's kick it over to the chat, guys. I'll leave it up here on the screen just so you can kind of soak it in one last time as you put in your grades. 1 through 5. 0.5s are allowed on the way. So let's hear it.
I'll tell you.
No, there's several like variant covers of this book.
Mm.
They're actually, a few of them are pretty expensive, so I didn't get a variant cover. I was going to try and grab one just to be a jerk and have a different cover than everybody else, right?
Did you see the Liefeld one?
The Liefeld ones was okay. The one that really impressed me was the Clayton Crane one. Right, it's just a team shot as well, but the way he has his angles and stuff, I was much more impressed with that.
Yeah, this is definitely in the era where you would get, half a dozen options on cover, ratios and stuff like that. No doubt about it.
I tried to find the blank variant, then I could have been like, yeah, give the cover 0.
We're getting some pretty low grades in here.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Well, like I think they're rating the same, like 2.5, 3, 3.5. That's what we were saying to you guys.
Yeah.
Maybe I just saw a little area where they were low there.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely I'm not really in disagreement with I could see a lower grade, put it that way.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe,
I'd like to do a public service announcement real quick, if I may.
Please.
Our buddy Genome Presents is 4 subs away from 500. 4 subscribers. We got 3 in the chat. So I'm going to put his link in here because if you haven't checked out the real Conan episode with him and Mr. Miracle, you're doing yourself a disservice because let me tell you, I thought I knew a lot about Conan, but I learned a lot from that show. Sub up Genome, hit the notification bell, watch that video, and be amazed.
Aw, you do me too much justice.
Yeah.
Well, I give Miracle some credit in there too, by the way.
And he did most of the talking, actually. So.
Yeah, it's tough to shut me up about Conan.
Yeah, I can't wait.
That's good. That shows the passion you have. That's absolutely what you want.
Love it. When I was a kid, I worked at a video store, and like video cassettes. Like, please rewind them before they come back. And one of my coworkers and I had a contest to see who could watch Conan the Barbarian the most times in a year. I got to 128. He was like, yeah, I know. He was like way up there.
Wow.
It's like we just walk in and just start playing it for 8 hours over and over.
Don't let Roger bully you, Russ. Nice one, Bill.
Hey, Will Smallwood. Good to see you.
Thank you for subbing up, Will. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, buddy.
Do appreciate it. Wow, if I hit 500 tonight, that'd be something, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Though I suspect most people in this chat are probably already subbed to me.
I suspect most are, but just in case, you know.
Okay.
4. Only 4.
3 now.
Yeah, 3 to go.
3.
We can do it.
By the end of the Grader'S notes.
We'll put it in
Monetization by 2025. Yep.
After every section, maybe some people come in, you know.
True.
Looks like we've got everybody's grades. It's going to give one.
Yeah, I think I got everybody. So.
All right. Oh, did you tally them up, as you went?
Yeah, I'll just make sure there's no more. So it looks like we come out to a 2.9. So we come into a 3.
3.
I don't know the 2.9. I have no idea, but so 3 it is for the chat. So yeah, pretty much this in agreement with us.
Yeah, it's a good cover. It's a good cover, no doubt. No, it's
Nothing wrong with it.
Nothing wrong.
The
Best
guy does have
hitter in the
a good
game.
style.
Unruly Simeon.
I tell you what, I probably would have dinged the cover a little more until after I read the interior. Then the cover made more sense to me. Like their new role, which we'll go over, their look here makes a ton more sense than it then. But like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh, what's with this grayscale, man? This is so dull.
All right, so kind of middle of the road on the Esad Ribic cover. Now, the interior art, which is by one Jerome Opeña, who's worked on this book, X-Force, had a popular run on Punisher. We're going to dig into the interior art on this bad boy. And that would mean that Mr. Roger is next. Or first, rather. First up.
Okay. We're doing the art?
Yeah, we're going to do the inside art, man. I'm going to be at your service here.
All right.
Scrolling as needed. Start right here on the first page.
I was somewhat surprised that I liked it as much as I did, although there are problems here. But I like the detail. I like the ambiance that his art it sort of hits you with the color palettes that change up, and his layouts are very well done, except for a couple transitional problems, but that might be in the writing as well. The one thing I have, look at that Deadpool, and this is the one thing I have, that I've noticed in his art. The posterior of the men look very funky, wide, almost like frumpy, especially when we get to Wolverine. But, I don't know what's up with that. It doesn't fit like their more athletic physiques, shall we say. But that's a nitpick, Good posing. There is one odd one, if you go back, Kenny, where he's walking on air there in that bottom left panel. See that one?
Yeah.
That's a little odd to me. I mean, it's Deadpool, so odd things happen with this guy, right? So he might be jumping and making a split because he's talking to himself. Who knows? He's a very annoying and just frustrating character for me, right? But that's not going to take away from his art. Look at that obelisk or whatever that is in the background, and the cityscape, almost like a Wizard of Oz, almost like the Land of Oz, whatever the is in the back. Very striking, nice detail. I really like the mood that he sets with his shading. It's really well done, and as the story goes on, you're going to see various mood changes. Go on to the next one. Right, now here you see almost an isometric view down, and look at the little details he puts here. You see the sarcophagus or whatever that is, and then notice the shading when the lady is sacrificed. It's different, right? Because it shows the difference in the violence. And then you look at the eyes light up when the blood is running down that little canal. Very good detail. And then you see in that mist, you see a little figure coming out of there. Really good detail on the living statue there, War, whoever it is. And again, you see the color palette when the violence starts. Really good command of how the mood changes here. Again, look at this is a kind of a dream sequence. Notice that around the edges, it's sort of abutted by this mist. So this is not in our world. This is something going on, dicta or as an aside. Again, well done. I do have a problem with like his face for Warren Worthington. I always thought he would be more modelish. Like his nose looks a little bit deformed in places. Again, look at the really dark shadowing here. This is nighttime. They just woke up. They're having this conversation, and you can see that the mood is set by the moonlight coming through, or the shadows that are protruding from the little illumination around. Well done. Keep going. Okay, keep going to where they're in the ship or whatever that thing is that Phantom X creates. Notice here, it's now light, right? Because this is the part that was a little bit odd to me, because it was kind of a non sequitur here. It's sort of put in here for effect, but again, here it's like normal light, because again, we're not in that mood. Here the mood is lighter, so you see light. Keep going. And then they're in the ship or whatever this is that Eva and Phantom X come up with. And notice that the ship has like a purple or an indigo kind of hue. So that's what we see inside. Okay. Nice attention to detail there. Again, his storytelling ability, everything follows fairly logically. Again, there's some transitional issues in between scenes itself, but within the scene itself, the storytelling art is very tight. It goes from sequence to sequence to sequence in a very logical and a very easy to follow manner. Okay, keep going. And then again, once again, now that they're out of that danger, that they're going back, they're going back to where the ship is and all that. They rescued, Deadpool or whoever he is. Again, the things are getting lighter now. That it's not quite as negative as violent, etc. All right, keep going. And now we're going back to that purple and the whole bit, because now things are getting more serious. People are getting possessed, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I don't want to keep going on and on. Essentially, except for the frumpiness, I think, can you see where Wolverine is? Where he's like, we see his backside and he's really thick in the middle. I think it's before this, Kenny.
Yeah.
I think it's before this. Okay. Yeah, I think it's before all this when they're going back into the ship. I think it's somewhere right there. That one right there. Right there. See, look down there in the bottom left. See, he looks how thick and almost like he's just had some kind of huge meal, and it's all concentrated in his posterior. But over here, when he's attacking, it looks a little more normal. So again, there are these little issues of inconsistencies that I wouldn't necessarily attribute to Wolverine and to the other male characters. But honestly, overall, a really good job. Good storytelling art. Some issues with the transitions, just a little bit harsh here and there. I really like the color palette. I gave it a 3.5. I really did like it quite a bit.
All right. 3.5. Oh, Gino.
Oh,
Gino dropped. I'm sure he'll be back.
He'll be back.
Hopefully. I doubt. I'm sure he has the link. You know what? You can't keep a genome down for long.
There he is.
Sorry, had to go down and just pimp slap the freaking router. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Made the goon hand down, and that's all it was. So hopefully that gets a little better. But sorry, where did we leave off? I missed grades and everything.
I gave it a 3.5.
3.5 from Mr. Roger.
I liked it.
He liked it. There was, a frumpiness to Wolverine's backside.
Yeah, frumpy, some transition issues here and there, and some weird jumps and poses, but well done. I'd say very well done.
All right.
Very nice. All right. So I think that would make myself next on the art. All right, man. Let me tell you something, man. So one thing that Mr. Roger mentioned was the detail. A lot of detail in Opeña's work. There's not a lot of blanks. He textures things very well and quite a bit. I think in a good way. Great way to opening page is important for me in the comic. I think it's the school of Kirby. I think first page, you got to wow the reader with a big. You don't want a bunch of panels on a first page. I think that's a solid rule to live by, and that's what we did here. The colors, which there's definitely like a somewhat muted color palette to it altogether. There's definitely a particular palette that they work in here. But one thing that you see as you go through the book is like they do a good job of letting you know you're in a different place, a different setting. Like you'll never confuse, oh, are they in the same place that they were last scene, or where are we? Because every time you transition to a different place, the colors are informing that. Just like when Deadpool's in the beginning going into this this layer here, you're getting a lot of that lime green and dark purples. I think that's a very dynamic pose. Awesome landing, superhero pose. Can't beat that. Good use of panels. So like one thing that Opinia does really well is, as opposed to like say the Max, we were looking at the Max for instance last time, and there was a lot of like getting creative with the panel layouts, and some, Sam Keith isn't the only artist to do that. A lot of artists like to take liberties with panels and do abstract things. One thing I like about Opinia is he's a purist. He's a classic style of laying out a page. Let the art inside the panel make things dynamic. Don't rely on a box of how you frame the art to be dynamic. Make the art dynamic. And one thing that might add to the frumpiness, and which is like that Metarog pointed out, is one thing that Opinia's style is, and it gets pointed out well here with the angel. See that little fold at the top of his thigh where his thigh meets his waist? You see the fold in his costume. Mm-hmm. And that kind of informs us that he doesn't draw his characters they're not wearing spandex suits. It's not skin tight. You don't see heavy muscle ripping detail through the suits because he textures it that they're wearing, clothing cloth suits, which I think might be why you don't get as much definition in the Tukis, for example, and other areas. We go to a new scene here at nighttime, different color pattern. I think this is well laid out. Nice heavy shadows, moon in the background, good stuff. What do I have here? I think that this was a fun choice here because when they introduce Phantom X, he's doing this dive bomb off of the roof. And I see that as a callback to the Deadpool dive bomb right in the opening page. They're the two mercenary, guns for hire, do it for the money type characters. And I thought it was interesting that they both got introduced in that same kind of way with the dive bomb, and they're on a little heist mission. Boom, you got your Wolverine scene. See, he breaks up. You only go so many pages. Like, it's like every 2 or 3 pages, I feel like. He gives you a big 1/2 to 3/4 kind of like splash action shot every couple pages. So I think he has like a good understanding of panels. He tells the story well as you go through, but it's like, see, that's the perfect. We went 2 pages and now we have this cool 1/2 page action splash. Like, he just makes things visually interesting. He knows the rules of don't give the reader too many small little plot panels without giving them some cool sizzle to feast your eyes on. And he always seems to adhere to that, which is cool. So yeah, man, lots of detail. I like the way he pretty much portrays every character in here. Like, lots of great splash panels, great colors, I think. And I won't even show the last page. I'll reserve the last page for the story part. So yeah, there you go. I'm a big fan. I don't have much to detract it on, honestly. Well, if I was to go negative, there's times when there's faces. I'll just end on this because the turkey's probably keeled over and dying from all this babbling. I just want to show one critique because I just gloated over this book hard. Let me give you a critique. I don't know if it's a female face thing or not even just female, but this is a good example. Psylocke's face there is not a very appealing drawing. Here's Psylocke here. Just maybe he goes a little too much with the texture. It looks like an old lady. A lot of our heroes aren't masks, so we don't see it as much. But he does it sometimes with male characters too, where the faces can get a little wonky sometimes. But great stuff, man. I love the art of Opinia. I love the coloring. I'm going to give it an unabashed 4.5. Boom.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
No.
R.I.P. Genome's Internet.
Man, Gino.
Let's see. He's rebooting his router. Okay. Welcome, Seawood. Good to see you, man.
Carson.
What do you say, Miracle? We had Roger kind of a little above average for it. I'm gloating. Where do you fall on the interior art of X-Force 1?
Oh, I loved it. I think that Opinia's pencils are just so crazy good. Like some of these like modern artists really do kick ass. Gets a little dark in a few places. Like you guys were talking about the Moonlight scene here. To me, that's too dark for Moonlight. Moonlight should have a little bit more dispersal going on. So to me, that makes it look more like a spotlight on him. You know what I mean? Like a really harsh light like that, rather than Moonlight's. And it's quite dark for quite a while. It's not terrible that the darkness is there, but yeah, the dive bomb scene, right? Love that with the Deadpool in the beginning. Love it with Phantom X later, and then we have the quadruple dive bomb. Everybody's dive bombing in this one. So he obviously likes that angle of a shot to set his characters up in the diving. Really, really like the way War is portrayed, right? That that big Minotaur with a huge axe. Yeah, that's cool, man. Like super well rendered, super cool looking. The anatomy and everything here did bother me. Like I guess I wasn't checking out Wolverine's butt too much, but other than that, like honestly, he's got great poses, lots of great anatomy shots, lots of like crazy action poses, right? Like he really puts a lot of big time action in there. You can just feel like Wolverine's gonna do something bad there. Like that little Wolverine shot too. You can get Psylocke through the head. It's very very cool, man. Like Deadpool's done real well. I like how he's got his mask all split open, like because he gets chopped in the head by War at one point in here. The ship's cool looking. The color does kind of push me off a little bit. It's too we're too purple, too green, too purple. Everything doesn't have to be purple. Everything doesn't have to be green, right? Like so much green. But that could be like Dean White, right? Because he was the colorer on this, and I think he got a little dark. I think he got a little weird with the, trying to change everything to a certain color. Whereas when he went more with the real stuff in Rapina's stuff, where he colored it more real, I like that better, right? So I thought the green and the purple detracted a little bit from it. Again, I like the choice, like I said, to make everybody in gray uniforms. I know David, yearns for the purple, but like having everybody in gray because you're not sure, like good guys wear white, bad guys wear black, so you're not quite sure. This team of anti-heroes here dressed in gray.
I like that.
So I thought that was a good idea. And yeah, some of the stuff is really, really great. Like amazing poses by Opina. It made me a big fan. I hadn't really taken a good look at his work before. Now I will. Like, check that Deadpool one out, man. That's so cool.
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. Even like even big shots like where everybody's kind of off in the distance. Still, you're getting all the glass. You're getting buildings. All the characters are in there. There's the ship. Eva is partly in there. So that's cool. He puts a lot of stuff with a lot of detail into his work, and it's rendered really well. So I like it. I really do like it. I won't show the last page either, just because you never know if you want to surprise anybody. But yeah, I really like the way he drew War. That really impressed me. I like that. This whole blood spatter Deadpool kills it. Anyways, I went because I said a little bit of that coloring threw me off, a little bit dark in some spots for me with the inking. So I went a full 4 on it, though. Right? I think he did a really good job of it. Yeah, very much better than the cover.
Yeah,
agreed.
I would agree.
So
A full healthy 4. Nice grade. I don't know if I've ever connected those dots of the suits all going gray. And you're right, X-Force, the idea is they are the gray area heroes.
Yep.
yeah,
Moralistically speaking, that's correct.
Yeah.
like
Man,
they're
that fruit was,
assassins and
yeah. As much as I like this run and read so much of it, that fruit was hanging right there. I didn't grab it. Well done. That's why I need you guys. Mr. Genome is rebooting the command center. We're gonna kick it over to the chat for their opinion on the art. When Genome gets back, we'll certainly let him get on the podium and share his thoughts on the art. But yeah, man. Chat, for those familiar, we've showed you some pages. Heavy detail. Genome says, I'm sorry, Roger says, at times maybe questionable anatomy. Oh, stop the presses. Well, let's allow, so I may have jumped the gun. Let's allow the chat to still drop those grades. As they do.
Yay!
We're going to kick it back to the man, Genome, for his analysis. But since I don't want to throw the chat off kilter, let's get the chat grade, and then we'll wrap up this round with a Genome analysis. What do you say?
That works. Always assuming I last that long. All right.
Yeah, there's a touch and go over there.
Oh man, I don't know what's going on with it. We have been through the ringer with this thing, and I'm fixing to talk to the president of the company this week because literally it's that bad. Like it's just, but we're locked. We have no other provider here, so it's just like we're helpless at this. Paying for a gig. We're paying for a gig of upload speed, and we ain't getting a gig. Let me tell you. So,
yeah, hey, I can definitely relate, man. You're usually pretty good. Your quality is usually pretty on point. Your connection.
It's been awful this last week or so. It's killed my Friday night streams a couple times now. So.
Jackson Roy Kerr says you still haven't recovered from your Jimbo.
Yeah, that was a cluster. If there was ever a cluster there in the history of live streams, it was that one.
Didn't go well.
Oh gosh, no. Well, first I got shut down by YouTube. Shut down the stream. It says we were breaching the user agreements or whatever because we were showing a public domain movie. So it was like, how do we breach anything? They would not have it. They wouldn't have it. So we had to show it on DLive. I didn't have a DLive account, so Jay had to set it up on his account. We got that going all the time. So then we had it us talking about it on YouTube live stream, and then him running on DLive. All the while, my connection's going up and down, up and down, up and down. Huh. It was a comedy of errors. It was so frustrating.
Yeah, that's funny. That's what happens sometimes, right?
Oh man. I mean, first world problems, but I mean, whatever. It's just
Yeah.
What do you say? I know Genome's got his hands full with the connection. Should we say we go the abacus route on this one, Roger? What do you think?
All right, let's do it.
Okay.
Let me know when you're ready.
I'm good.
All right. 4.5, 4, 3.5, 4, another 4, 3.5, 3, 3.5, another 3.5, 3, 3.5. Yeah, no double dipping, Bill. That's it.
All right. All right.
Let me try something.
Yeah, that was 3.6. So we round to the closest number, or once you go, what do you think? 3.5 or 4 if it lands on 3.6?
Got to round up.
Got to round up, right?
Yep.
4.0, baby. They were on with Miracle.
Notice Miracle says round up when he's the one who put
Oh,
the
yeah.
What was it? 3.6.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a 3.5.
3.5, 3.5 it is. And
I guilted him into changing it.
Yeah.
What was Kenny? What was your score on the book?
I went 4.5 on this one.
4.5.
Kenny really liked it.
And Dave,
Kenny
what
went
was yours?
fanboy on us.
I really
4.
liked it. Sometimes on stuff I really like, I admit I will give it a little bit of a cheerleader grade, but I stand behind it.
That's your prerogative, buddy.
It's my prerogative, baby.
We all do that.
Oh yeah. I still remember the Miracle 5 on that movie.
Yeah.
Well, chat came up with my same grade. I came up with 3.5. I won't get into it too much because my connection looks like it's crap over there. So I don't want them to be big blurry me. It's almost as clear me.
Yeah.
So
Turn off that green screen.
Feel free to elaborate on that 3.5 if you like, and if this helps, I can.
That might help. I did like, and you mentioned it, Kenny. He had very almost movie-like transitions with the color palettes. Like there'd be a whole 2-page spread that was all like the purple tone, and then the very next 2-page spread would be all in the green tone when they changed areas. I thought that was kind of nifty. It's probably cheesy in a way, but I kind of liked it because this book needed some color, man. It was a little too drab for my taste, to be honest with you. But it is what it is. It's more of a noir piece, and they have all. We'll talk about it in the story, I guess. But they have a new focus once again. So once again, I gotta kind of consider that when it comes to what they're doing with the color palette. There's some nice accents, like the butterflies. It's always the butterflies with Psylocke, right? Shapes they do with her psychic powers and decent use of the lighting. What I really like about this artist, though, is he plays with a lot of distances, and most of what he does, it doesn't look like he takes shortcuts. When he does the far shots, it looks like he gets really detailed on those, just almost as much as he would on the close shots. So I can dig that. Some decent angles here and there. Nothing extraordinary, it's a little above average, I'd say, for just typical comic, at least for this art style. That's of course an awesome panel, the two angels looking at each other there, even though it confused the heck out of me. But maybe it's because I don't know the direction that Archangel went after the 90s. So kind of, I'd say well above workmanship, but I gave it a 3.5. I just enjoyed it, but it wasn't completely to my liking. Just a little too muted for my taste. It is a comic book at the end of the day, and you do need some vibrant colors to pop off the page just a little bit. So yeah, 3.5. Much better than average though. So I'll give it that much.
Nice.
Well said. Well reasoned analysis.
Absolutely.
And the green color was my favorite. Like I don't know if it's going to come through here, but like when they were underground or whatever, I really like that green tone.
Yeah.
He had all the pages. It's not going to come here. It's all going to be disappeared, but basically it's all green back there. So I like that shift. That was kind of cool. It's like a Ronnie Yu movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sweet. Next up, we've been doing a lot of art talk here. We've got over the cover. Esad Ribic with a pretty unique style. Same with the interior, Mr. Opeña, with another pretty unique style of his own. Now we're getting into the story of Uncanny X-Force. Last time we talked about the story of an X-Force book, it didn't fare very well, brother. But this time around, we have the writing work of Mr. Rick Remender, who has a pretty respectable career as a writer. So let's see how that holds up. And I think I'm first on this go around.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess buckle up. I'm probably going to, do a little more. We'll probably do some more gushing. I overall like it. And I'll be curious to see how the other panel members respond off just reading one issue, because, I have the whole series ahead of me in mind, etc. So let me get Deadpool out the way first. So Deadpool is a character that, straight up and down, man, I do not enjoy reading Deadpool. I find him to be kind of annoying. Like, most writers and we're talking fourth wall break, jokey Deadpool, because Liefeld's Deadpool isn't the Deadpool that he became. Most writers lean way too much into that jokey stuff, especially when it's Deadpool in his own series. Oh man, it's like fourth wall breaks galore, chimichanga, punchline, and comedy is not something that everyone can do. Like, not everyone is good at comedy, so it's an effect of like most comic book writers, they're just not that funny, and like they're trying to write this, supposed to be comedic fourth wall breaking character, and it annoys me. It gets old, but this run and the way Remender writes Deadpool is, I think, the best use and the most spot on of what I think Deadpool should be, in like a realistic way. Because normally you're like, nobody's going to be this jokey in the series, but the way that he writes it, there's no fourth wall breaks or anything like that. But I feel like the way that he writes Deadpool is definitely a guy with some screws loose who's constantly running his mouth to amuse himself. Like, he's always amusing himself is the way it comes off to me. And I don't think it's too heavy and too forced. And, it's probably because it's his way of dealing with the anxiety of these crazy situations that he ends up in. It's his mechanism of dealing with it, is like just the constant kind of jokes and taking everything to be like lighthearted. So there's my Deadpool analysis. Is he writes him about as good as I've seen anyone do, and he doesn't get annoying in this series for me. Next, I'd say let me touch on how he handles Archangel. So I think the fun thing that he does with Archangel, not every writer really does it, is like we have Warren as the angel and Archangel as almost like this demon that's in him that's suppressed down, and like it freaks him out because he's not totally in control, and you never know when this Archangel might come out. But he wrote it with a dynamic that it's almost like the Hulk, the way he writes it, of he can unleash it if he needs to get savage, And that was like a really interesting way to write Archangel, is now he can like unleash this Archangel character and revert back and forth. And it adds a cool dynamic to the relationship with him and Psylocke. Because since she has telekinetic powers, she helps him psychically, because it's a mental thing of how that Archangel arises. It's part of their relationship where they're kind of tethered in that way. She cares about him, and she helps him keep the beast under control. And like, it's a really fun dynamic. I think that's well done. Phantom X has a good character. They're all distinct characters, I feel. He's a French criminal. They introduce him in a cool way. Like it moves briskly. Like, you don't really get bogged down at any points in the story. I think everything moves. Like, before you know it, you're in the Ava ship. You head into a mission. Not a lot of first issue itis. They're not really explaining everyone because you don't have to. You know these characters. And they do kind of do a team assemble, which that's a little tropish, but is what it is for a team book. Let's see. And let me also say, the team makes sense. This X-Force team is the X-Force team before that was one that Cyclops put together to do missions, hit missions. This time around, they're going outside of Cyclops' knowledge and going on their own. And one of the things I really like about this is it's so easy when this guy's in your book, Wolverine, it's so easy to make it a Wolverine and Friends book and make him the de facto leader, and he's calling the shots. He's kind of just a side member of the team. It's really Archangel that's the leader of this team. He's the one driving the directive. He has the mission. And I appreciated that. It didn't turn into Wolverine and Friends, which a lot of these books easily could. So, and it ends with a cliffhanger. I'm going to keep the cliffhanger. It ends with a cliffhanger reveal of the guy they're going after. I'll leave that for my other panel members to get into, see if they liked it. But I will. So my overall thought on it is, Remender does a great job of writing a team book. Like, all the characters have interesting relationships with each other, good personality, good banter. It's one of the best written team books that I've read. But I can only grade it so high because it's not breaking the mold too much, especially in the beginning. It's a team that's getting assembled to go on a mission. So, I can't pretend like this is some kind of high concept War and Peace. It's just a fun team book, but I think it's all really well written. So considering that, I give it a 4 because of the genre and what the goal of the book is. I think he executed it just about as well as he could. And the deductions on it isn't so much to penalize what Remender did in the writing. It's more of just the stuff that he didn't do or chose not to do that takes the point down. Boom. Oh, my chat froze.
All right.
Chat's frozen. While I try to unfreeze the chat, guys, let's kick it to. Who do I kick it to? I kick it to Gino. Right? Gino.
I'm here right now, so might as well.
Good point. What do you say, Gino?
So I even removed the green screen in hopes that it'll improve things somewhat. So sorry, let's get some Batman one in there. Okay, the story. I think this writer is a fan of Star Trek Deep Space Nine because he just completely ripped off Section 31. And that's the most recent copy. You might want to minimize me, dude. I'm looking awful over there.
It's not so bad.
Okay, well, forgive me. This is not Kenny's fault. This is my fault, totally. But yeah, but it's a cool concept. Basically, Section 31, and for those who don't know, in Star Trek, it was built 200 years ago, right when the Federation was first getting started, and they go out and do the dirty work, the spy work that no one else wants to do, and eventually they become completely autonomous. And while they are protecting the Federation, they answer to basically no one. And they go out and they do assassination missions and whatever. Basically, they're the big power players behind the Federation, really. And that's what this team kind of seems like, they're that big power players. But at the same time, the team makeup makes sense. I don't know who Fam X was. And so that was a new character for me because I've been out of the comics game for so long. But, Archangel, at least the original one, Wolverine, Psylocke, those characters make sense. Deadpool, of course. So the idea behind the team, which you read about after the book is over, does make some sense, right? That being said, yeah, I guess Wolverine didn't take over, which is nice. But I'll tell you, here's another thing, too. Wolverine is the world's biggest hypocrite. This guy likes to call the Punisher psycho. And how many guys does Wolverine...
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. How many guys does Wolverine need to screw the life
Wolverine Revenge Squad got you.
Sounds like the beginning of a joke. Tell me if you heard how many guys does Wolverine... Does it take a...
Wolverine walks in a bar with a bunch of guys.
I want to know what he said. I want to know.
All right, he's not coming back.
Yeah, I think it sounded like he was about to say, I love Deep Space Nine. I love this book. I concur with Kenny. I give it a 4. This is where I felt like it was going.
Oh, man. I'm sure he'll be back soon.
Yeah, we'll let him hop back in and get his grade out for us. Let's cruise over to my man Miracle. What do you think about the way this story unfolded? And one of you guys, what do you think? Should we give him the last page?
Sure.
If you guys want to give him the last page, I don't care.
Yeah, one of you guys, your assignment is let him know the last page.
All right.
All right, Miracle, floor is yours.
So I don't know what book you read, because I must have read a different one. This comic book sucks.
Yes, I love it.
It's totally. Oh my god, this is so generic trope. It's like, okay, team guys, go fight monsters at a fortress. They break in, fight monsters, they win. Ta-da! Where there's no tension. I didn't buy the chemistry between the characters. I thought, what? This is not the way that these guys would interact. What the hell is with the Jekyll and Hyde Archangel? Like, why is he having this? I thought that was, oh, no. And of course, he has to be, involved with Psylocke, because you can't have an X-Men comic without some sort of high school hookup in it. And, and then, I'm Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and I don't know what to do. The angst. Oh, the angst of all of it. And I'm like, give me a break. The only good part of this book is the last page and Deadpool. Right? I did like the way he wrote Deadpool. I am a Deadpool fan, and sometimes writers do write him really, really annoying. They try to make too many jokes that they're not funny people, and they're trying to write jokes for the stuff. But he's not trying to write jokes. He's just making Deadpool say, chaotic neutral stuff, right? Like, and it comes off joking. I thought he wrote Deadpool well, but the rest of it was like, what the heck? And they took Deadpool out in page 2, right? And some stuff didn't make sense. Like when War hit Wolverine with an axe, and he goes all berserk and gets possessed, and war, kill, everything, and he attacks him. Well, how come Deadpool didn't get possessed when he got hit with the axe? Right? They're not revealing something that's special about Deadpool. Yeah, very tropey, very fucking X-Men. Like, it was just like, no. Chris Claremont covered all this angst a long time ago. Stop doing this. Right? You don't have to make characters date all the time. You don't have to have, like, what was with that weird away kind of thing where Wolverine and Phantom X are trying to break into a vault and have this big bet? Could have taken that completely out of this story, no problem. You could actually take all of the dialogue out of here, except for the last page, and I would still give it I'd be like, oh, this is great art. I love it that it's a silent issue, and I don't have to listen to a bunch of characters spout off stupid things, right? Because very tropey, very generic. I am not impressed with Rick Remender's, writing at all. I've read a couple of his comics. I've never been impressed with his writing. I think he's very generic, steals other people's ideas, not very creative kind of writer. He does write, a decent, dialogue, I guess, a little bit. But even sometimes the dialogue's like, really, guys, why were guys, going to act like this? They're not going to act like that. They're going to, I don't know, feel like they're more in danger. Like, a lot of the time he's writing this team is like, yeah, we're fighting these guys, and then they're just hanging out in the middle of Apocalypse's ship or whatever ship is going on there, right? And it's just like, do something. There is a lot of action written in here. There's a lot of fighting. Like I said, it's these heroes get together. They break into a fortress. They beat the monsters. They get out. And, the end of the issue, except for the last page. That's like, okay, well, that's kind of cool. And let's see what maybe I want to see what happens in next issue just because of that last page. But if that last page wasn't in there, I wouldn't have bothered. I would not be interested in picking up another issue of this based on what I read here. Yeah, no, I gave the story a 1.5. Just you got a little bit of points just for that last page and the well-written Deadpool dialogue, which I like. Is like you say, people try to make Deadpool force all these jokes, and he's just sort of chaotic, neutral, just spouts off what's going in his head. So when he's talking about Gloria Esteban and stuff, I thought it was kind of funny. But yeah, 1.5 for the story for me. Did not like it. Was not interested in picking up issue number 2 based on this story, other than a little curiosity because of that last page.
Oh my God. 1.5. Wow. Well, there you go. Miracle. Completely writing off. The last page informs why they're on that mission. It's not random. There's some meat to. I'm not going to rebut. I'm not going to rebut grade.
I'm not saying like that.
I accept the grade. I love it. Let's see.
Just say they could have gone a different route to accomplish the same thing, a more interesting route than just let's go get them.
I like that you agree that he wrote that's one of the better Deadpools, right?
Wasn't this the same plot as Suicide Squad, the movie?
How dare you? Genome's
It
back.
was. It was. It's the exact same plot as Suicide Squad. I just realized that. Let's get a bunch of anti-heroes together, take a mission to, stop the big bad guy and win. It's been done again and again and again, man.
I never got the love affair of Deadpool. I've never understood it.
All right.
I'm not a Deadpool guy. What can I say?
I'm done. My grade 10. I'm done.
1.5. Did you want to round out your analysis and grade there, Gino?
Yeah, what were you going to say about Wolverine there? I'm curious.
Yeah, curious.
He's just the biggest hypocrite there is in comics, man. Is like him and Punisher, when they team up or get together, he's always calling Punisher psycho. And Wolverine's like the ultimate Marvel assassin. He's calling other people psycho. Give me a break. So, take that, Logan. But at least he didn't take over the comic like you said, Kenny, which is fine. So I mean, it was just solid first issue stuff. I liked it that they seemed a little more aggressive in their airing, so that part was kind of cool. So 3.
You landed on a 3. 3.0 from Gino. Very nice. And to round out the analysis, let's go to Mr. Meteor.
Okay. I kind of have mixed feelings about this story, but I read it through the first time. I wasn't that impressed. But then I looked at the dialogue specifically, and that was impressive. And I kind of see where Mr. Miracle is going, but I don't agree with most of his points. I think Deadpool is super annoying. And again, he talks to himself. He's got the corniest jokes ever, and he just to me is just irritating. I mean, all the way through. And this is not as irritating as I've seen him before, right? But still, his kind of, prepubescent, jokester and mentality does not really fit the seriousness of this kind of organization, right? I guess, you have to put him in there because he's, he'll do whatever you say, I guess. But, it just, to me, it just didn't click with him that well. Again, I think that this has been done before. I mean, when the Avengers West Coast got too aggressive, they split off and went to Force Works. And what they did is that they scoured the planet, and whenever anything was sort of starting to smolder, they go in there and destroy it. Okay, so nothing would be able to get to the point where it was so powerful that they couldn't handle it. Right. So this is kind of a similar concept, right? That and Miracle, I think this team does have cohesion and commonality because they even were saying that they were all manipulated at one point in their lives, and that's something that they just can't handle anymore, right? So they want to make sure that they just get just whatever we don't know exactly what it is at this point. Whatever this is, they're going to eradicate it before it gets to the point where they can't handle it, right? So I think there is commonality, there is logic behind the focus of the team. The relationship between Psylocke and Warren Worthington, I never remember them really having anything. And then, again, I didn't read books 10 years before this, but maybe something came up. So that seemed a little odd to me, but it kind of makes sense if you think about when, her powers and his difficulty with his dual identity that somehow emerged here. And I think the dialogue here is really snappy, right? I agree with you on one thing, Miracle, and that one scene, Kenny, if you can put it up there, that one scene where Phantom X and Wolverine are together, and Phantom X is coming in to steal the crown jewels, and Wolverine's already in there, and that's sort of to establish that they have some kind of relationship prior. They're doing bets and things like this, and Phantom X calls him a Philistine, which essentially means you're an uncultured jerk, okay? I thought that was pretty smart. You know, that was pretty kind of, because he says, "Oh, that quote is what Hemingway." He goes, "No, it's Ben Franklin." You know, so you can tell that Phantom X is actually fairly cultured, and Wolverine is a beer guy. You know, that's just the way it was. So that was smart. You know, kind of like snappy repertoire there. And then later on, you know, when they're fighting war, and I think it was Wolverine who was possessed, and then the war starts talking about, or Wolverine starts talking because he says everything about all the four horsemen. That's when you know the villain here is Apocalypse. Okay, because he says something like consume, destroy, infect. You know, so you know those are the four horsemen. So I thought that was clever. That was clever little clues that he's putting in the story to sort of lead you, you know, Sherlock Holmes style, to a conclusion. I do agree that, you know, like that scene with Wolverine and Phantom X, it doesn't really, it's a non sequitur, but I guess it's just to establish that relationship, but they could have done that much better. It just seemed so out of place there. And then, you know, Deadpool is captured and they release him, and he has no weapons or anything. And then all of a sudden he gets up and he's full of weapons. Like, did they keep those around in case he was rescued? You know, that doesn't make sense. You know, you would think the weapons would be somewhere where he couldn't reach them, you know, but again, it is what it is, right? This is a comic book, and those kind of leaps in logic kind of happen, right? So again, the story itself, the focus is nothing novel. It's been tried many times before. There is a conundrum here that's, I think, in the future, it's set up really well, in that, is this team going to kill an Apocalypse that has not yet done anything? Okay, but he will, you know, ostensibly. But right now, he's an innocent kid. So, you know, there's all philosophical issues here, consequentialism, utilitarianism, et cetera, that I think in the future issues might be really good stuff. But on this issue itself, there's nothing really new here. There's some forced relationships, and there's, again, some parts which are plot holes that bother me. But the dialogue is so snappy, and the relationship, the even back and forth where Phantom X is flirting with Psylocke, and she says, you know, I'm in a relationship, and he says, you think I would say that if you weren't? You know, it's very, really sharp and really, you know, realistic type of repartees here in the comic that I thought were very entertaining. That being said, the plot holes and the very unoriginal kind of overall plot was okay, but again, it's nothing really new here, nothing really over the top. But the dialogue was so good. I disagree with Miracle on that. I thought that was the strength of this comic. After all that, though, I can only give it a 3, because everything else just seemed like I had read it many times before.
Boom. There you have it. Nice analysis from Metarog.
3 it is.
And yes, the last that we were hinting at is they're on a mission for going after Apocalypse. They think they're about to deal with big bad Apocalypse, and it could be a suicide mission. Apocalypse is so powerful, but they must do it. And the reveal is Apocalypse is but a child. That's what that tomb thing is. They've rebirthed a young Apocalypse. So it's kind of like the would you go back and kill Hitler as a baby conundrum that gets thrown around, you know?
Yeah. Do the ends justify the means? Ask yourself that question.
Yeah, if he's still a sweet kid at the time, you know, do you punish him for what could happen?
Yeah, but once he becomes Apocalypse, then you can't stop him.
Right. Yeah. So it's a clever way to use Apocalypse, you know, using Archangel for the story. And as the leader makes sense, because he's probably been affected by Apocalypse more than most heroes, you know.
Yeah, he's scarred for sure. He's very scarred, you can tell. Yeah.
It was a good way to bring in the angst.
Oh, Miracle.
Great job, panel. Great job. Chat, we've kind of laid out the story. I think you've probably got a good sense of where the story is. From what you've heard, feel free to pop in your thoughts on it. We got Biggie pretty fired up in there with the besmirching of Deadpool. Biggie Shack was not happy with.
I like Deadpool.
I think it's us other guys who are on the hit list there.
Yeah.
Roger. I
Yeah,
don't know. Good. Right.
he knows I'm not a big Deadpool fan. We know that this has been established for many videos.
I don't hate the overall idea of Deadpool. Like, I really enjoyed the way they do Deadpool in the film. I think that's good balance of badass and jokester. This Remender's one of the best guys that's handled Deadpool, but so many writers, in my opinion, just make him too hokey, too jokey. I'm a serious man, if you haven't told.
Oh,
So I can only tolerate so much shenanigans.
My question is, and once again, I was a long time at this point. So, is Archangel what's going on with him? He transforms into Archangel now, and he's Angel normally, or is that just like in his mind that he's Angel walking around? I didn't really pick up too well from the story.
He can because they were saying that whatever Apocalypse did to him, psychically embedded that Archangel in him. It can't be removed. So he's actually transforming physically into Archangel. Yeah.
Isn't that like?
How the hell does that work?
There is that one dream sequence when they're both in the same panel. That's in his head, but he can like transform. So it is like a Jekyll and Hyde thing, like Miracle said.
So cybernetic wings like in his body,
Yeah.
and they
he
kind of
has regular
sprout out
wings.
when he changes.
He has regular wings. They just changed into steel wings later.
He's a mutant. That's what
Yeah.
happens to Colossus, right? He changes to steel. So
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. No, yeah. I just didn't make it to me. I couldn't figure out if they were explaining something happens to this.
Well said, Gino.
poor Genome.
Yeah.
Poor
And
Genome.
it doesn't make sense that Cyclops can shoot beams out of his eyes either.
No.
This is the world we've signed up for.
Yeah. We have to suspend disbelief a bit here. Yeah,
A bit.
a bit.
Yeah,
But as long as things happen, it sounds
Yeah.
great. Vicky says, "Sounds great, Gino." Oh, Vicky. Oh man.
Okay, so I think we had maybe a couple of grades there. What do we have? We had a high grade from Big like the Deadpool in the mix.
Now, yeah, Kavi gave it a 4 before he left.
Okay, so
Um,
it's like 3 4s and a 4.
I think there were some. I think there's some scores further up too. Let me scroll up. Someone else had to give earlier too.
looks like it'll be a 4 from what I see here.
Yeah.
Hey, Slim, how you doing?
But yeah, okay, he's still copied there. All right, never mind. That was him. All right, can you guys hear me? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It chops a little bit.
So I'm just keep the camera off.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
Just speak quarter speed, and you're fine.
Bye, Gino.
Okay.
All right, so the chat landed on 4. Let's hit that concept.
Chat landed on 4. Is that what you said?
Yeah, chat landed on 4 for the story.
Incorrect.
Incorrect.
You guys have to take the test
Kenny's over
again.
there like glowing,
I'm like, yeah, good. I'm with you, chat. I think first at bat is it Gino? Did we do Genome first last time? I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have been.
I always
It
lose
doesn't matter when I go.
What
Won't
did
be
I get?
long. I'll cut it nice and short.
All right, what do you think of the concept, Gino?
Let's see if we actually get through here quickly. A viewing. Let me turn it back on. Just in case. Concept. It's nothing new here. It's a first issue team building exercise. And they try about the end. It's just a quick question. And I don't know. The only thing that was kind of slightly innovative is like the idea of a rogue strike team, which is filled with semi-anti-heroes. Betsy Braddock was an assassin before she was Psylocke. And, it's good to see they choose Warren Worthington, aka Archangel, but 13 points. So, but there's nothing new in this one here. Just another #1 reboot of an existing team franchise name, and then they stuck the characters that made more sense into it. So I gave it a 2. I just like they took it a slight different direction. It looks like it's gonna be a more adult direction, especially if they're gonna go maybe off Kid Apocalypse, But yeah, other than that, there's nothing really new here. So 2 on that. So just a reboot and rehash.
All right.
Or Teddy Ruxpin would work well. Yeah.
Speaking stuff.
Good. Your points were definitely heard loud and clear. Kind of procedural. Didn't reinvent the wheel here. And for that, it landed on a 2. Fair enough. Take care, Unruly. Thanks for hanging out, brother. All right. Let's see. I've totally lost place. Well, I'll just knock out my concept thoughts. Concept. I'll nothing too innovative. Agreed. As far as writing a superhero team book, because I'm not going to punish them for why would they even put a team book together. He's tasked with a team book, and we have the world of X-Men, which you almost have to have multiple titles for X-Men because there's so many characters. They're almost in there. I always feel like X-Men makes the most sense in their own world, and they don't play with the Avengers in the other. It makes the prejudice that they experience make less sense because it's like Spider-Man could easily be a mutant, and why do people love Spider-Man and don't like the mutants? So I think they should be in their own world, and I think spin-offs of the main X title make perfect sense. So if you're tasked with how can we split off the X-Men brand, doing something like X-Force of let's get our more gray area, hard-hitting characters and make a team book out of it, that makes perfect sense. I think that's a good idea. And instead of the original X-Force where they kind of create a lot of new characters for that. It's cool to see existing characters like Wolverine and Archangel, characters that we didn't have to learn a new team. Phantom X, most people did learn about him through this run. So it's cool that you injected a new character in there too to keep some maybe some mystery to a new reader who kind of knows a lot about the other characters. But he's a fun character. He's another Weapon X program guy, so he fits right in good with Wolverine and the rest. I think it made the ambitions made sense. Like it wasn't. I don't think it was too generic of a mission to save the world or anything. It would make sense that Warren would have an agenda and he has the funds to run an operation like this. So it all made sense. And then to end it all with the little, like I said, kill Hitler as a baby twist conundrum is good for. I'll agree that the overall idea is nothing stupendous, but if your goal is to let's make a task force team book, you put some good twists in it, did about as good as you can do, but again, nothing too amazing or too what's the word I'm looking for? Nothing too crazy.
Innovative.
Yes, I knew it was an I word. I was going to say invigorating. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Nothing too innovative, but well executed for the task at hand. So for that, I'm going to give it a 3. Mr. Miracle, the story left you with a 1.5 taste in your mouth.
Yeah.
How did the concept leave you?
Well, it's just a rehash concept again, right? Just generic, and let's put a bunch of our popular characters together in a book and sell them, right? Yeah, the whole ties between Archangel and Apocalypse is kind of good, but I mean, even that's been done with those two ties, like over and over again between these two characters. Having Apocalypse suddenly show up as a kid. Apocalypse, has never been the most well-defined character in the Marvel universe, but bringing him back as a kid, that's kind of I guess it's not too bad because I said he's not really all that well defined. But to me, it was just, this is the concept of let's just take our, money makers and put them in a book. And we've seen this concept before. Yeah, a little bit of story happened in the meantime, but mostly it was just big monster, fight them, right? And the heroes win and get away. So concept of this book, yeah, and another thing too, if you're gonna have all your big guys, where's X-23? Why didn't they trope her in there as well, right? Anyway, concept of this book, I gave it a 2 for the concept because I do like some of the characters.
All right, a 2. Okay. I don't know if I'd call Archangel, Phantom X, and Psylocke big money characters, really. But
Back
again,
in the early 90s, Archangel was.
This isn't rebuttal notes. This is Grader'S notes.
Rebuttal notes.
Roger, what do you think, bud?
Oh man, that's a good one though. That's a show we do every other week.
Yeah.
Rebuttal notes. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat here. Nothing that, like you said, nothing crazy here, but it's been done before. But I do like certain aspects. There are positives that hold it up and negatives that hold it down. I do like the philosophical conundrum that they're going to run into here, and also the fact that this team, it does have a connection because they've all been manipulated. They all been, at least that's what they say. They've been scarred. They've been used, and again, that kind of wears on you, and that kind of animosity amongst them can bind people together. That kind of common hurt. You see that in focus groups and counter groups, things like that. And it seems to me like this group is actually there only when certain situations arise that require them. So that's why Warren sent Deadpool to see if, hey, is this something that we should be worried about? They didn't all go in there because they didn't know that there was a viable threat yet. So I don't know if this concept will hold water beyond the story arc. That's where the bottom part of it kind of falls out for me. The concept may not hold out. Obviously, as you say, Kenny, in the X-Men universe, there's multitude of enemies. I mean, it's innumerable the amount of enemies that are out there. So anything can come out, right? But the fact that they are hiding this from Cyclops means that they have a whole different agenda, and sooner or later, those two, differing philosophies are going to clash, right? So I don't know if they've thought this through all the way, unless they say very clandestine. I do like the gray uniforms that kind of mirror, like we said, the moralistic, gray area that they are working in here. But it is a first issue. I mean, it does have some heavy hitters, but I don't think that's the focus of the comic, really. I think they kind of make sense, when you think about how they've been affected, right? So I like that aspect of it. But again, beyond this story arc, how this is going to play out, I don't see it very long lasting. Let's put it that way. I think this would be a good mini series. That would be higher on a concept list for me. So because of all that, positives, negatives, where do we land? Right in the middle, 2.5.
Oops. All right. Yeah. Oh, 2.5, you say? I finally get to use Mr. Serviceable.
I didn't think of that.
All right.
Can't be any more orange.
We did it. Hey, Alex. Good to see you, man.
Hey, Alex.
Good stuff. Well, all well said, guys. All well said. We chat. What do you think for a concept on a book like this? Throw your grades in if you got them. Mercenary team book. They give you the little conundrum at the end of the book. How many points do you think something like that's worth? on the concept. I fell on 3. Roger had 2.5. Mr. Miracle hit us with a 2. And I believe, Genome, you also hit us with a 2 for concept, right?
Yep, it was a 2.
Yeah, I thought it rose above a normal first issue because of the philosophical and the different type of team this is. I gave him a little bit more points for creativity that way, but I think it's short-sighted, and that's what brought it down. Or else I would have gone 3, Ken.
Yeah.
I will say at least the X-Force title itself makes more sense for this team. It's like, okay, they're like a razor-sharp scalpel to take care of the business. So X-Force makes a lot more sense than the old teams did, but as far as the name goes, but I don't know. I can't get over Archangel. It really bugs the heck out of me.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely a different use of Archangel. And Angel's never been one of my favorite characters, really. So someone like me was open to, all right, make me really care about Archangel.
The same thing is, I cared about him as Archangel when he was fully transformed and stayed that way because he was always fighting his wings. That was his gestalt. His wings had a mind of their own, and he had to forcibly control them. And if he slipped for a second, they started killing people. I thought that made him interesting. And now he's the Hulk. Like, I don't remember if it was Roger or Dave said it, but he's kind of the Hulk now. So
yeah, it is.
It's kind of strange.
Or Jean Grey, right, with Professor X having to
holding back the Phoenix or whatever. Just odd.
Well, he's been through a traumatic experience, so you can sort of understand how he may be repressing that aspect of him, and the fact that it comes up when it's necessary. They even say, "Well, as long as Psylocke's here, I'm okay, but once you're gone, I could go wild." Yeah. So they did explain that a little bit.
They almost leave you that breadcrumb of what happens if those two are not near each other, and split happens. Yeah,
and also leads you to wonder: is like, did they just lift that from the X-Men movie? The Dark Phoenix movie. It came out 2 or 3 years before this movie or whatever it was. Not Dark Phoenix, but X-Men 3 or whatever it was. When Professor X was keeping Phoenix locked down in her, she knows that he's there. So it's almost kind of like that story too. So it's like a lack of little things that's lifted, but I don't know.
That's part of the comics. He does that in the comics.
Yeah,
it's fun though. It's fun. I mean, I can dig it though. I like the idea of an assassination squad on the usually two goody two shoes X teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but they should have sent them to assassinate somebody, not just on this team mission of fighting these monsters. I don't know.
Yeah,
they should have done something else. I didn't enjoy it. I was like,
well, I think Warren Worthington did say, "Hey, I want to kill him." He didn't make any bones about it.
Yeah,
I'm going to kill him. He just didn't know he's a kid yet. But that's their objective. Right.
Yeah,
and you're right too, Rod.
It's about a 30-something issue run, and this particular storyline isn't the entirety. You get some resolution on it. It doesn't, take too long. So the story stays kind of evolving. Yeah. Another fan favorite character joins the team. Who could that be? And you learn
Jubilee.
And they do write Phantom X pretty well. Like when you mentioned that scene of they write him as a very cultured guy, like Roger, you noticed when he mentions the quote. So there's some fun there with him and Wolverine. That dynamic of he's kind of this highbrow, high taste. Like when they're talking about the liquor, so they wagered who could get to the safe first, and the bet was for like a $2 million bottle of alcohol, and
a case of it.
Yeah, or a case of it. And he's like, that's what I want. How do you even know about that? I googled it. He probably just googled most expensive. He's like, I could use something to clean my claws with. And he's like,
I'm a Molson man, which is a case
yeah,
of beer.
Dave's gonna like that part. He's like,
I'm a Molson man. It's like, it is a little non sequitur, but it's a quick way of you got to assemble the characters, and it introduces that dynamic between them in 2 pages real quick. So it's like, all right, that's their dynamic, and you proceed from there. So
I thought it was enjoyable. It didn't really fit, but I thought it was enjoyable within its within what it was.
You're right. It is a little stark of a swap.
The transitions were a little bit, but listen, it's number 1 issue. Honestly, he did this better than most, but it's still kind of odd.
Yeah.
Phantom X, it seems like the only one that had any life in him, though. He was the only one with just whatsoever. Like, if he did new characters, I wouldn't care about any of those guys, honestly.
Fair enough.
Okay, guys. Do we know what grade is here?
Yeah, we're gonna. Bill Magmusing is gonna be the voice of the people on this with the 3. He's the one vote for 3, and that's what it's gonna be.
Well,
we always.
oh,
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
it's a 3? Okay.
All right.
So I feel like we've done quite a bit of overall banter on this book. So why don't we kind of just pop through our overall thoughts pretty succinctly here. I'll keep us all on the screen as we do it, and then we can see what Roger has in store for us for the next edition. So, Miracle, why don't you hit us with just your overall sense on it? You did have a couple grades on different ends of the spectrum.
It's definitely on either side of the spectrum because, reading this story I was not impressed, but looking at these pencils by, Opina was just like, I was like blown away. The cover was pretty good. I like the treatment. Coloring was good, a little dark in some spots. Unfortunately, I think that, probably, this team or a very similar team to this one is what we are going to get for the X-Men in the new MCU rather than, the traditional guys. So I don't know. Overall, I wouldn't really recommend it. You could go find some other Opina, art that you can take a look at. But yeah, I gave the overall a 2. I wasn't too impressed with it. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody if I was standing in the comic shop. You got to read this. No, I wouldn't say that. So,
Fair
2.
enough. Sorry, Biggie Shack. Mag Musings was not the sole grader. Biggie Shack also weighed in with a 3.5, let it be known. So we're still in the same vicinity.
And I think Gray Man and Russ gave it 3s and Alex 3 too.
Oh, really? I botched that.
Where are you?
I know. So we landed around 3.
You could lead X-Force.
Still 3.
Roger, what do you think overall here?
Yeah, Kenny, I was honestly pleasantly surprised with this pick. When you said 2011, I'm like, ugh. I'm allergic to 21st century comics as a general rule. But X-Men related comics, especially because, they're either derivative or they're watered down or you need to read a tome of back issues to figure out what's going on. But I didn't really get that feeling here, except for Phantom X. And again, I didn't really get a good feel for him, but we know that he can somehow manipulate people or with that Eva, and he has that external nervous system and with the ship. It looks like a really cool character, honestly. I want to know more about him. Again, there's nothing wrong here. There's nothing negative in this whole comic. Cover is pretty good. Art, much better than average. Some little issues here and there, but honestly, the detail on this art and the texturizing of it is stupendous. And good storytelling too. Not like you said, not like the Max where you have to start getting a slide rule to figure out which panel goes where. No, this is a very, logical and, concentric kind of panels. Story, I liked it. I mean, it's nothing mind-blowing, but, that last page, like Miracle says, is really where the payoff is. And, that's what you want. You want a story with a payoff, not like a downer. So this one, I think, was better than average 3. Concept, I already went through it. Negatives, it's been done before. It's tropish. But the dialogue and the way that they have set up the team and their objectives and the philosophies, I like that kind of stuff. So I gave it an average. Overall, 3. Nothing wrong here. Solid read, solid comic. I'd read the first story arc. Beyond that, I don't think it's going to work.
Depending on how it left you after that first story arc, you might be bit.
Maybe. They have to really wow me,
though. Mr. Gino, what do you think overall, man? Oh, yeah, right when he was about to let it out, you know?
It's a conspiracy, man.
Yeah, the vibrations he was giving off just shut it down.
Then. No, he's not coming back in time.
No, it's froze. Okay.
Ugh.
Well, we'll leave him, just in case he unfreezes, I'll leave him right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Overall, for me, the weakest part of the book was the cover. Even though Esad Ribic has, you Google this guy's work, he's did probably his best stuff is with Thor and Loki, because this painted style lends itself well to like that Norse mythology, Viking royalty, painted style. But he has better covers than this in the run, but it's okay. I'm a big fan, clearly, of the inside art. Opinia's style is right up my alley. I mentioned it when I was talking about the cover. I like good line work. That's probably my biggest thing that I want to see is I like tight pencils and I like sharp line work and good detail. And he does that. And no fancy malarkey on the panels. I just want good panel layout and make what's going on inside interesting. Kept the and I like that transition between splash pages and it lays out a good action book. Story wise, it's just up my alley, man. I like X-Men. I like superhero team action. I'm a fan of Punisher, Wolverine. I like the grittier characters, Batman. So you give me a hard-edged team that's on a mission. You give me some good dialogue. You throw some fun twists in there like the Apocalypse thing. That's what I want from a comic. It's not Watchmen and stuff like that, but it's really well done in this genre of here's a superhero team book, here's the mutants. It's what I want from a comic book. So it does it really well. It stays pretty consistent. I would recommend folks to check it out. I like this edition of where I'm just pandering the book to people. I don't usually. I kind of like just putting up books, and I could go one way or the other on it. But I decided to go into pandering mode tonight. So yeah, the story was. I gave the story a 4 because did I give the story a 4? Yeah.
Yep.
And the concept a 3. So I didn't calculate the math, but I think that this book is overall a 4 for me. When all the parts come together, I just think it does a good job of a superhero comic book. Gives you what you need. I dig it. And Genome, for the record, let me know. Oh, hold on.
2.5.
2.5. What was that other thing you said? Competent, but somewhat forgettable.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say. I could totally see that take.
I wouldn't call it forgettable myself, but I can see that.
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't, but I get it. Was that all 4 of us?
That's all 4 of us, man.
That's it.
None of us agreed on almost anything.
Yeah. It's not a super polarizing book. Well, I guess to Miracle it is in some regard.
Yeah.
But, good stuff. Good job tonight, guys. Slim says, he likes the Clayton Crane cover.
Yeah,
Wait, the only book I've seen 84 sell more than this is Masks.
Yes.
Yeah, I've tried to get it on a couple times.
We'll get that someday. I'm sure.
I fought valiantly. Thanks.
You did.
Hey, Gino, welcome back.
Thank you. I'll keep the camera off. It's my face that's breaking the internet, it seems.
Oh, man. Listen, if mine doesn't do it, yours certainly won't.
All right, let's stick the landing here with Metarog and our choices for next book. Chad,
right.
You get to weigh in on this.
What was your score, Kenny, real quick?
Overall was a 4.
4. Okay.
I was a 3. So in 2 weeks is, by my calendar, the day before Halloween, right? October 30th. Ooh. Okay. So I'm choosing two kind of monsterish books so that we can have some fun during that day, right? So I had 3 books originally. My esteemed colleagues pared it down to 2. So now you have a choice. Would you like to see Marvel 2-in-1 #1, art by Gil Kane, story by Steve Gerber? Okay, I think this is the first meeting between Man-Thing and Thing, and I believe they take on the Molecule Man. I haven't read this in some time, but I think that's right.
No big players in that one, huh?
No,
Yeah,
well,
really.
Marvel during the Bronze Age, there was no small books back then, pretty much. Or
another weight class there.
or Marvel Premiere #28. Maybe not the first appearance, but the first appearance of this iteration of the Legion of Monsters. Morbius, Werewolf by Night, Ghost Rider, and Man-Thing makes a second appearance here. Art by Frank Robbins, script by Bill Mantlo. And they're both one-shot stories, so you don't have to know what happened before and after and all that.
Keep expecting Ghost Rider to say cowabunga right there.
So, #1, 20, or #28. Write it in the chat. Majority wins.
Man-Thing connection.
Yep, anything on both counts.
So who's going to be the first to whip out their giant-sized Man-Thing and show it to the audience?
I was just about to tell you about my giant-sized Man-Thing collection.
I didn't go for the giant size because I know my audience. I know where they're going to go with that.
Yeah. The show would get derailed every 5 minutes.
We go to the bottom of the barrel quickly as it is. So, I don't want to add more fuel to the fire. Legion, Premiere, Man-Thing, Legion, Premiere. So it looks like, guys.
Yeah.
So there is a Marvel milestone for this. Okay. I did check to make sure that they were cheaper versions of this. Okay.
Good.
So should be less than $10, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Cool.
If not, is this like a real expensive book? I don't think so, right?
I don't know if it's super expensive, but it is a book of note that I think goes for a little bit. I might be inclined to pick that. That one's kind of been on my radar and to-do list, so you might just prompt me to make it happen.
Show the type on the two. Oh yeah, okay. This is a good one. Somebody's very keen. Notice up here what it says. 2-on-1.
Oh, wow.
2-in-1. Yeah, I should have brought that up on my Errors show a couple weeks ago. I forgot. That's a very, very keen observation, Jackson Roy Kirk. Yeah. There's no interpersonal relationships going on in here. Okay. Let me just make that clear.
The angst. I want to see Man-Thing. Why? Why is my girlfriend?
Yeah, Man-Thing and 2-on-1. I mean, God, somebody had a sense of humor here.
2-on-1.
That book is all over the place in the pricing scale right now. I'm looking around eBay right now. It's freaking. Yeah. It looks like it averages around $70 though.
This one?
Overall, yeah.
Yeah, it was between 40 and 80 is where a lot of like mid-rock copies.
Definitely get the Marvel milestone then, because man, I bought this off the rack, so this thing is like maybe a VG,
We're not doing that one. We're doing the 2-in-1, right?
No, we're doing this one.
Which one? Oh, fuck it.
Sorry.
I was looking at it. I was like, oh, can I find one? And
sorry about that.
Okay, the monsters. I like that one better. That's good.
This is going to be a fun Grader'S notes, guys. Let me just tell you that right off the bat. This is going to be a fun one. All right.
I just wanted to see Man-Thing and Thing beat up Molecule Man.
Well, maybe we'll see that some other time. But this is going to be a fun one. We're going to have. Well, I'm not going to say anything. It's going to be fun.
All right. I'm already looking forward to it. Let's wrap this baby up and call it a night.
You bet.
Gino, while I can still hear you clearly, why don't you let us know first? I'm probably, I'm starting to wind down for the evening here. It'll be pillow time soon, but I think that your Conan show with Miracle is going to be what I fire up once I shut this down. So that's a recent thing that people can check out. What else is cooking on your channel?
Well, that is the ultimate video for pillow talk there. So, let me channel some Barry White here, just kind of more the same at the channel. Some more review stuff coming up. I'm going to be picking my next horror review series, but I think first I'm going to go do a quick Kurosawa run, and I'm going to do a bunch of them: Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, maybe a few others, but I'm going to do at least 3 of them, and so I'm going to take maybe a tiny break from horror, but maybe not. Maybe I'll still hit Iron, while Halloween's around the corner, and do a couple of more famous Halloween. But I want to do the Hammer films, really. That's probably the next in the horror series. But just other standard variety stuff. I'm not sure what else. The weather's been nice, so I might start motor blogging again too. So
nice, man.
That's how it is.
Sounds good. So are you still 3 away? Are you still 3 away from 500?
Let's look.
Anyone tuning in here?
Still 3. Couldn't do it. I picked up 1 though. It's usually what I get in a whole week, so it's not bad.
Let's get our path to 500 here. Keep that
even Conan couldn't rise me out of the quagmire of subs. That's all right.
I think once I watched that Conan show, if you did a good, if it's as good as I think you guys did, I'm gonna have to start promoting that to push those subs.
There you go,
Mr. Metarock. What's cooking over there on the Metarock channel?
Well, probably nothing this weekend, except I'm going to be with Gray Man on Saturday. We do the Cover Slingers, which is a fun show with Slim and Comic Mag Musings, and Matilda is there. And we usually have a special guest as well. So that's a lot of fun. And I think on Tuesday, I'm going to be doing another one of my special videos. Not really sure what I'm going to do. I might just do one of my complete sets that I really like, and talk about that a bit. So and of course the roundups on Thursday.
Nice. Always got to stay tuned for what Roger's got going on. Mr. Miracle, owner and proprietor of a very successful speculation tip channel. There's a lot of those lately. I've been seeing some lately that I'm like, oof. Like, talk about late to the party, dude, on some of these. This is a book you need to invest in. It's like, are you kidding me? Now's the worst time to buy it. Everyone's looking for it.
There's a lot of guys that go out there and there's a lot of guys that go out there and they just bring up whatever hot book is there, right? No, grab this now. No. I try and get you that book in your collection before then, right? So that when that book comes up on your hot 10 the top 10 list, you're smiling. You put up your Instagram picture. Hey man, I had this for a year. Paid $1 for it. Right. That's the idea. There's no sense in specking on books that everybody's already specking on. Right?
Is it even speculating? Is it even specking if it's already hot? You know what I mean? It's like
just it's just stealing other people's content and trying to get views, right? But everybody's got their own channel. They do their own thing. Let it go. So I will have another undervalued video coming up here ASAP, and other than that, we did the Conan stuff, which was a lot of fun with Dave and I. I think we did a nice job of it. I'm gonna go watch it too. I haven't watched it myself, and
I did some tasteful edits. Don't worry.
What's that?
I did some tasteful edits. Don't worry.
Tasteful edits. We'll see. I'm sure. Anyway, other than that, there's some sort of documentary coming up that I heard about the year end. I'm excited about that one, right?
Yeah, me too.
You should be talking about stuff like that too. But other than that, I really, you never know when I'll show up on YouTube.
Hey, before Dave goes, can you give us a little bit closer shot of that Galactus back there? Because people have been talking about that like crazy, and it's beautiful.
Chat's been like burning it up, man.
Oh yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this guy.
Well, he's acrylic medium on Bristol board. Do all this kind of backgroundy stuff with polymer varnish and mica powder as as a pigment. And I just painted them up. Just wanted to take them on, right?
That's stupendous. You could sell 1,000 of those things.
I actually had a couple people DM me and ask me if I'd sell it to them. I was like, no, Galactus is sticking around with me for a little while, but
Yeah, man. I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I mean that's my favorite one. I think that's your best one. Objectively, that's just like, man, what a great piece.
Now do a Living Tribunal next.
Do the Living Tribunal next. We'll see what's going to come up next. Yeah, this one I think I'll keep. I won't be giving this one away. I'm probably gonna keep this one for a while, but I'm still painting, so we'll see. We'll see what comes up next. Yeah,
good stuff, man. As far as myself, I'm glad you reminded me the last con documentary. I am sprinkled in it, but it's really my man Bear Island. Putting a lot of work into it, and just from the little snippets that he shared with us that are in it. I haven't seen them in the dark almost as much as a lot of you guys. I've seen little chunks here and there, and everything I see is just like so good. He's a witty dude. He has good timing. It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait. So
the trailer was awesome.
Yeah, he's really good with that stuff. So stay tuned for that. I'm hoping we're maybe like a week or two, a couple weeks maybe away from that. So make sure you subscribe to my man Bear Island. I got it because I did an auction or two over the past like month and change, and with that bounty, I picked up 2 pretty choice books, man. So I'm probably gonna wait for them both to arrive. One came today. Got one more I should be getting any day now. So I'll have a pretty fun unboxing soon of 2 great books that fit into my collection really well that I've been wanting for a while. So stay tuned for that. I recorded a new episode of the Top 10, the Wizard Hot Top 10 list show.
Nice.
I'm in the middle of editing it, so you should see that soon. And lastly, Friday night, Mega Power Hour, the Hang show. So if you're into Hang shows, that's what we're doing Friday night on this very channel. My pal Biggie Shack will be with me, and we'll just be cooling out, man, on a Friday evening. Come on by. I think that covers all our bases. Any parting words, guys?
See ya in 14 days for the Monster Grader'S notes.
That's right.
Bring your candy corn and pop rocks.
Candy corn.